going to get our next act on. Now, I did say at the top of the show that we have varying levels of experience tonight. Well, we have got one act tonight who is doing their first ever comedy gig. And that act is going to come onto the stage right now. So please, ladies and gentlemen, give loads of love, loads of support. First time on stage, give it up for Forrest!
For being here, because I dragged my sorry ass out of bed for this, so it's really good that people actually showed up. I was having mind-blowing sex too. You know, the kind that's so bad it makes you want to put a gun to your head. Yeah, some things just don't go together, like sex and aging. You remember what it was like back in those early days when you were first having sex? You know, it was like Christmas morning every time. All that excitement, all that anticipation, shaking the package, wondering what you were going to get. Well, that takes on a whole new meaning when the package is hanging off the front of a 60-year-old naked bald guy with an 18-inch sagging scar from his bypass surgery. Christmas morning was never like this. After a certain age, it becomes medically advisable to be plunged into complete darkness before you even think about tearing off the wrapping and diving into the box. Don't get me wrong, I'm no prude. I was always up for pretty much anything, anywhere, anytime, with the lights on. But that was back when I was boinking hot young guys. And I was young and thin, and I didn't mind being seen naked. But now, even I don't want to see me naked. My dog had the misfortune of wandering into the bathroom a while back when I was getting out of the tub. Poor thing turned absolutely white. Took off like a shot. Found him cowering under the stairs. Stayed there for a week, shaking and whimpering. Vets said it was post-traumatic stress. Doesn't even hump my leg anymore. It really sucks for me. That was the best sex I'd had in years. Yeah, after a certain age, there are some things you just don't do with the lights on. Like have sex with one person on top. You know, your whole face just falls forward, and everything hangs there like the testicles on a bowl. All these droopy, dangly bits swinging back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it really sucks whichever position you're in. Because like if you're the one on top, it's really embarrassing to know you look like that. But if you're the poor sod on the bottom looking up at that, oh, it's like fucking a bucket of melting earwax. Of course, you can count yourself as lucky if you can still get up there without hurting yourself. You can put all that grunting and groaning to good use anyway by throwing in the occasional, oh baby, and making him think he has a clue and you're actually having a good time. And then after a couple of minutes, you throw your head back and scream, oh my God! And he's lying there thinking, oh hey, that didn't take long, I'm all that in a bag of chips. And you're up there, writhing around, panting, breathless. He's grinning like a Cheshire cat until you finally manage to hiss, call 999, I've broken my fucking hip. I remember when I used to be able to contort myself into a pretzel and maintain some pretty spectacular positions for ages. Of course, I can still do that, but it's only because I've had terrible muscle spasms and I'm stuck. Taken to leaving a can of WD-40 on the nightstand. Yeah, some things, you know, with the sex and aging, you know, it's just not worth the bother, really. Actually, I shouldn't make it sound that bad. There is still one way you can have really great sex when you're older. You just lie there and remember it. Yay, aging. I remember the first time I smoked after sex. Oh, it had nothing to do with cigarettes. I just didn't have enough KUI. You young guys think you're the only ones who can maintain an erection for a long time? These old guys, they just keep going, 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 because they ain't doing a whole lot of coming. And And eventually they just wither and collapse. But at least you had a good long ride first, so you know, you gotta count your blessings at this age. There was this one guy, man, he was way older than I was. He was a decrepit old thing, but my God, he had a rock solid heart on. And he just went on and on. I was in my glory thinking, whoa, this looks like we can really keep it up and show a girl a good time. But it kind of put a damper on things when I realized it was rigor mortis. I always said I loved playing with stiff things, but that really wasn't what I had in mind. Do you ever notice how male genitalia looks like it's removable? It looks like it's attached with Velcro and you could just kind of pop it all off and then stick it back on like Mr. Potato Head parts. I always thought it'd be pretty cool if it actually worked like that. You'd have like a rack on the wall, all these different sizes and shapes. You could have like the circumcised one for when you date the Jewish girls. You could have the red and green festive striped one. And for those girls you really want to dump but they just won't fuck off and leave you the hell alone, the ever popular spotted dick. It's so popular, in fact, it has a famous English pudding named after it. Just think about how convenient it would be, though, when you got a teenage son going out on a date, you could be like, wait, there's one missing. You put that back, young man. You're not leaving the house with that thing. Of course, that would put Jeremy Kyle out of business in a heartbeat. But isn't he about the most removable dick on television?
Liberty Forrest.